Apparently, all the Sharks needed to win some games was me to get sick and some guy named Yaroslav Askarov to do Askarov things.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL's Tuesdays episodes. Want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day, now that we're not sick. And if you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're getting caught up on two big wins from the San Jose Sharks. Talk about Yaroslav Askarov and his importance and why he's making things really difficult for the San Jose Sharks, especially when they get three healthy goaltenders. We're going to talk about the construction of the NCAA line with Macklin Celebrini, Collin Graf, and Will Smith. William Eklund's return from his injury. Pickles return. There's a bunch of stuff. So we're going to have a pretty jam-packed episode here. So before we get to all that, do want to, of course, let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right. So yes, thank you to everybody who reached out. Sick, like literally on the couch, could not get off the couch, couldn't talk. Finally feeling better over the weekend. So we are here. We're back. We're going to make it up to you with some extra content over the next couple weeks. So thank you guys who reached out. Wish me well. We're back. We're good to go. Askarov, not only did he save the Sharks, he might have saved me personally. Yeah. We got to talk about Askarov. He's the big thing coming out of these two games, right? A game where you beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, very close, grinded out type of win. A game where you beat the New Jersey Devils, which felt like it should have been a 5-4 type of game. But if it wasn't for Markstrom and Askarov doing insane things in that game, but Askarov, who's right now covering up a lot of the Sharks' defensive issues just with his insane goal tending. And the goalie of the future just might be the goalie of now, because I don't know how realistically you can, right? If you're Mike Greer preaches, right? Competition. You know, Ryan Warsofsky, competition. We want these guys to compete, right? I don't know how you can't look at, and Askarov is on a different level when it comes to like athleticism and stuff compared to Vitek Vanacek and Alexander Gorgiev. But I don't know how you can look at what Askarov's doing and then be like, hey, bro, you got to go back to the Barracuda and play. Maybe at the end of the season when the Barracuda are like trying to make a playoff run or something like that, that's a different story. But right now, where this team is, you know, they just snapped an 8-game losing streak before their win against Tampa. They've won 2 games in a row here. They got a chance on Tuesday night. They're playing Vegas with a chance to put this thing together, especially a team that you played well with for a little bit and things got out of hand in the third period. Was it a week ago? And I've made the argument of why Askarov go back, but he's doing all this despite everything that's going on in front of him. I think it's really hard for the team, for, veterans, the kids, Askarov and Celebrini and Smith and, Graf, and if you want to include Eklund and, all the other Thrun and all the other guys in there. I think it's going to be, if Askarov continues to play like there's just, it's going to be really hard. I don't think it's realistically possible if he continues to play like this to send him back. we know Mike Grier is very like he's going to make what he thinks is the right decision for the team and for the development and for the long-term future of the team, right? That's why he's a general manager. His job is to think about the team, tomorrow, 2 months from now, 5 years from now. And if he thinks it's best for Askarov to go back so he doesn't get just absolutely destroyed by his confidence destroyed by the goaltending or by the defense in front of him and stuff like that. Like I totally understand that move, but when Askarov's out there, this team just plays different, right? And I've used to make this joke about Martin Jones. If any longtime listener know, like when Martin Jones was out in net, you all, at the end of his career, right? And we all were there for that, and that like this is why the Sharks had to kind of move on. But it was very much when you knew Jones was out there, like it's that one guy or one person in your office that they just can't do their job well. And then everyone else around, it makes everyone else's jobs around them difficult because they're the one person who can't do their job. That was what it was like with Martin Jones. And when Askarov out there, it makes everybody's jobs easier because he's so good at his job, right? And it allows your defenders to be a tiny bit more aggressive, in how they play the puck and being a little bit more offensive minded. It allows your forwards to be more offensive minded, like they can kind of shoot the zone a little bit earlier. And you saw a perfect example of on the Macklin Celebrini goal of Graf, kind of makes a little bounce pass. Smith and Celebrini just take off and go. And that's because they have a confidence with Askarov back there, knowing with this dude back there, it gives us a chance to kind of play our games and be our best selves. And I'm not just saying like Askarov, like this, like what Askarov's doing right now, it's pretty ridiculous. So I pulled up on Money Puck. They have a really nice goalie, their goal saved above expected, which right now Askarov, his goal saved above expected in 7 games is 5. So he's has 16 goals allowed and 21.03 expected goals against. So 5 goals expected. That's really solid. Like, if you're looking at everybody who started the game, and again, like that puts him at 22nd in the entire NHL. Like the top goalies, like Hellebuck is at like 23. It's like Hellebuck saved like over 23 goals this season, like goals saved above expected. Lucas Dostal from the Ducks is 18.8. Like Jacob Markstrom, 10.8. He's 6th. So like 20 seconds, not too bad. That's a really solid performance. If you look at goals saved above expected per 60, and I kind of did the filter at 5. That way you can kind of like guys maybe come in and play one game and just like have like a ridiculous game, kind of at least give a little bit bigger sample size. So if you look at goals saved above expected per 60, so this is how they're doing basically for how many goals they're saving every 60 minutes. Askarov is 5th in the NHL. 5th at 0.718. So basically every minute that he plays, or every 60 minutes, every game, he's saving 7.7 goals per game. So almost a full goal, like 0.7 goals per game. 5th. Here are the guys in front of him. Number 4, Connor Hellebuck, might be the best goalie in the world right now. John Gibson, who's having a really nice kind of bounce back from his injury, and also is looking to maybe get out of there, so might have a little bit of motivation to play well for the Ducks. Philip Gustafson, who's having a massive year for the Wild, and Lucas Dostal, who's number 1 right now, and again is having a monster year for Anaheim at 0.791. So even the guys right behind him, Logan Thompson, Anthony Solars, and then Casey DeSmith, like Askarov is in like some pretty elite company with, and again, small sample, right? 7 games played, but you see why the goalie of the future for the Sharks might just be the goalie of now, because he's just that good. And he looks like he has a blast doing it. And I think he takes it just takes the edge off the team knowing I got a freaking rock star back there, right? in Askarov, and he's bound to have some bad game at some point. And I mean, we see it, the puck handling, right, where it makes all of us like collectively hold our breaths at the same time. And that's going to come back to bite him, and we've seen it already, even in his first game against the Blues, his very first time he touches the puck. Like, that's going to happen occasionally with him. And that's just, you're going to have to live with that to get stuff like the save with 3 minutes left in the game, where he makes a ridiculous save on a yawning cage to keep the Sharks in a game that they probably were not getting, they were not having the greatest third period. They're having a much better third period than we've seen, but Askarov he just changes his team right now. And whether the Sharks, keep Georgiev or Vitek Vanacek, or, try to figure out something, because neither one of them have a trade value right now, especially with Vanacek being hurt. And B, like, would it make sense maybe for a guy like Georgiev to go play some AHL games to try to maybe reestablish his confidence, and a guy who's working with the goaltending coaches right now to try to tweak some things in his games? Like, he said it himself, I'm trying to tweak some things in his games. Like, we'll see what the Sharks have to do. And it doesn't sound like Vanacek is going to be available anytime soon right now. I think he's just getting back on the ice. Matt Miller had that he had a broken cheekbone, which I think is, I think he confirmed that he had a broken cheekbone from that puck that hit him in the face, when he was sitting on the bench. But like, I don't know how if Askarov continues to play like this as one of the, best goalies in the NHL already, I think it's going to be really hard to go to that locker room and say, like, so we're sending the kid back, even though he gives us a better chance to win every night. So if you're for Team Tank, more Georgiev. But again, I still think the Sharks are going to lose plenty of games without Georgiev's help here. So, yeah. But we'll continue to talk about some of the big stories, of course, coming out. We got the NCAA line with Graf, Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, William Eklund's returning the Lund line. So we'll continue to talk about some of those things and get caught up on some other thoughts here on this episode of Locked On Sharks in just 1 minute. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. It's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same game parlays, and so much more. I think it's, as much as it pains me to say it as a Dolphins fan, I think it's the Bills' year. And as great as the Broncos have played, I think it's going to be a different atmosphere when they go to Buffalo to play Josh Allen. So give me the Bills and Josh Allen. Give me a bunch of touchdowns for Josh Allen and a Bills win. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right. Again, want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, go check out one of the other great shows here at Locked On. Of course, you have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. So if your fantasy hockey team needs some help, who to start, who to sit, who to drop, all that fun stuff, they got you covered there. Or check out one of the other shows here in the Bay Area, as we are a factory of sadness right now. Locked On A's, Locked On Giants, Locked On Warriors, Locked On Niners. It is all sad here in the Bay Area, but we still got you covered. A bunch of great stuff going on. So make sure you guys follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. All right. Let's, of course, talk about the NCAA line. So I know they were the Hobie line. I've heard the NCAA line. Another one I really liked was the BBQ line, because you have Boston College, Boston University, Quinnipiac. I forgot who said it on Twitter. I'm sure you will definitely let me know. But some great line. But the NCAA line, I think, kind of makes sense. Like, if they all won Hobie Bakers, like, that would be like an insane line. But I mean, Hobie Baker nominee. They also have like a bajillion Hobie Baker nominees too. Anyway, so I think the NCAA line until maybe something comes up. But I think that line has played really well. I'm really glad that Collin Graf, who I've really been impressed with his time with the Barracuda, because he feels very much like a really high-end glue guy. Right? That guy on that line who can kind of do a little bit of everything. The puck always finds his stick. I think he plays pretty solid defensively already. And we'll see him continue to get better and better at that. That was kind of his role, even on the Barracuda, right? When he's playing with Andrew Podorowski, who was kind of the main line driver, and then it would usually be like Daniel Gushin or like Ethan Cardwell or Bordela, like kind of more of a scorer on the other way. But Collin Graf was usually the guy who was kind of, let me do a little bit of everything and try to kind of help this line. And again, even on that goal, right, makes a really smart, the puck comes to him, his stick, in the defensive zone because he's in the right place at the right time. And then he is able to, he kind of sees the play, bounces it off and then goes. And you saw, I think what kind of my biggest takeaway too is just like Warsofsky's trusting of that line, right? Because you saw at the end of the second period in the Devils game, and I know it's a little bit more Devils oriented. This I did watch both games. My brain was still a little fried from the being sick for the Lightning game, but still, this still like sticks to me. Is that like one of those moments, kind of growing up moments of, right, end of the second period, there's like a minute left, and I think there's a growing moment for Warsofsky, right, where he puts out the Lund line, which would have been a respectable choice. They were just kind of coming off, I think, a little bit of, like half a shift. Could have kept them out there. Offensive zone draw. He puts out the kids. He puts out Macklin Celebrini, Will Smith, and Collin Graf. And could have, right? We're trying to score points. This team struggles to score goals. But if Celebrini or Smith lose the draw, that keeps spending the entire time defending. What if they give up a goal? But no, he's like, uses that opportunity to try to push for some offense. And they create a really great opportunity where Collin Graf, beautiful 2-on-1 with Will Smith. Will Graf, great pass over to Will Smith. And Will Smith, and I think it's Brett Pesce, if I remember, just barely gets a stick in the way and kind of knocks Will Smith. So he just isn't able to get everything on it. And like he had Markstrom beat clean, but the defender gets the stick there and it hits the side of the net, right? And that was after they spent some time in the defensive zone. He realizes, like, I'm going to have some warts with this line. Like, things are going to happen, especially when you have three young players. Like, Collin Graf is your oldest player, and he's played 8-9 NHL games at this point now. But this line and the Lund line and, like, everybody, like, this line gives me the best chance to score goals right now for a team that's struggling to score goals. Right? You scored 3. One of them took the last 24 seconds of the game from Cody Ceci bomb. Scored 2 against great goalie in the Lightning game. Like, this team still struggles to score goals. But I thought, like, him doing that, I think he got rewarded with that Celebrini goal later because of kind of trusting those young guys. And that's what you like to see from your young head coach, right? Is learning, like, these are my best guys, right? Celebrini, Smith, and especially since Smith and Celebrini have been kind of paired together, like, you've seen the best, I think, out of Will Smith. Macklin Celebrini has been very consistent, I would say. Has had his ups and downs, and maybe, a couple games here where he didn't score, and then he goes and just, scores his 13th goal this season. But, like, realizing these are my best players, and I'm not going to be able to win games by sheltering them and not putting them in a position to succeed, or at least an opportunity to try to do something. So it would have been really easy if they had gone out there in that last minute, right, and conceded a goal, even if they started in the offensive zone, but if they conceded a goal. But how often do these young guys, right, they get an opportunity, and that's the line that's really kind of pushing the tempo and creating offense for you. And I think hopefully you're going to see Warsofsky continue to kind of utilize them in those opportunities to try to, again, look for moments to try to create offense and those little edges, right? And especially for a team right now that is very much, we struggle to score goals. Let's see if we can find a little margin of advantage right here and putting these young guys out there and giving them an opportunity, even in crucial moments like that. So, and I mean, even seeing Graf right at the end of the Lightning game, he's out there trying to get, he's out there in a big moment, trying to hold the lead, getting some penalty kill time. Like that's what you want to see from a young player. So we'll continue. We'll talk about the Lund line, Eklund's return. He looked great on Saturday. Hopefully that's we see a nice boost from Eklund here, kind of going into the Four Nations, which got a month now until Four Nations. So hopefully we see a nice run from Eklund here. We'll talk about Vlasic's return, Mario Ferraro's solid play, some of the other good stuff as we get caught up after these Sharks. My sickness, and the Sharks have won 2 games in a row. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. Did Rocket Money help you find subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice, which is the worst? It's definitely happened to me. My wife downloaded it, realized we had a bunch of subscriptions that we were still paying for. And with Rocket Money, it made it easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's your subscriptions, your spending habits, or even your goals you want to hit, right? New year, new goals. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. That's like 2.5 Macklin Celebrini jerseys you could buy right there. Maybe 3 depending on which ones you get. But so if you want to get some money to go buy yourself a Macklin Celebrini jersey, cancel your unwanted subscriptions or reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right, let's finish up kind of some odds and ends here. Eklund coming back. Good to see him coming back. I don't know if it's out there, but definitely had if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably concussion. He was definitely coming back from that. So good to see him out there. With him skating and stuff like that. That's again part of that concussion return is where you have to, build up, see how you do, see how you react from exercise, and kind of give yourself some rest and kind of build up again. Like that's kind of part of the treatment. But he looked great on Saturday, especially that Lund line reconnected, had some golden opportunities, just wasn't able to take advantage of them. I think for him, a little bit of up and down, especially December, I think it's been a little bit up and down for Eklund. I think he's gonna have if that Lund line kind of stays together right now, right, and if the NCAA line can play as like we expect, and Toffoli and Wenberg and can kind of hold down that third line and give some more scoring there. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a really nice run from the Lund line if those guys can kind of stay together and kind of reignite the magic that we've seen from them, because that line has been and can be a very, very good line. And they have a game on Tuesday, and then the Sharks don't play again until Friday. So I kind of expect them to treat this like a really last game of the home series. You played Vegas, who's really gotten the best of you the last 2 games. Would love to see a big performance from the Sharks in this game. And but yeah, Eklund I thought played really well on Saturday, and especially that whole long line. They were the only line that actually had a positive Corsi in that whole game from the Sharks. They played 11-04, 12-7 shot attempts, 7-2 actual shots, 0.65 to 0.12 expected goals for, 7-3 scoring chances, 3-1 high danger chances. Like, that's exactly what you want to see from that Lund line. And I think they're going to start scoring some more goals here soon. So, good to see Eklund back. Hopefully he can stay healthy here rest of the way and kind of get back into what we saw, especially in November. So other big things, Marc-Edouard Vlasic's return, which I was a little surprised that he kind of came back here. I mean, we've seen Vlasic practicing and kind of hanging around with the team and stuff, but kind of waiting until the midseason to bring him back. And for a guy who's right, we don't really know what he was kind of dealing with. Had a very long off season, right? And we know kind of the troubles he had last off season with some of his off ice issues, which there's Google, you can kind of go see what happened there. But I think though for Vlasic, like I think again, he kind of brings just a little bit different mood and kind of different personality, especially for a team that's right. There's a lot of young guys. There's also a lot of newer guys, right? You think of guys like Toffoli and Wenberg and, like some of Carl Grundstrom and like some of these other guys who've kind of maybe been around some other places. Vlasic, who's been here forever. Like, I think he just kind of brings a little bit of a different energy, right? You kind of saw him, if you're watching the broadcast, right? He's kind of joking with Drew Remenda in his first game back. Like, I think he just brings a little bit different energy, and a guy who's basically seen everything and done everything for the San Jose Sharks except for win a cup. And if he doesn't get concussed in 2014, I think the Sharks win the cup. That's for a different day. Like, yeah, he's not the same Vlasic, right? And maybe I thought he played pretty well. He had very limited ice time, and maybe he wants to be a little bit tighter on the defenseman, or on the play where he gave up the goal against the Devils. That made it 2-2. But overall, I thought he played good defense on that. And like, you just have to sometimes tip your hat. Like, that's a ridiculous shot by I think it was Paul Cotter. Like, that's just a ridiculous shot there. Maybe he wants to take the body there, but like, that's still like, I don't think I don't think anybody on the Sharks is playing better defense in that scenario than what Vlasic was playing in. I think it'll also make it easier if he's around for if you do want to trade like, a Cody Ceci or Mario Ferraro or Jan Ruda, one of these veteran guys, to have a guy like Vlasic who's still going to be here for the next season and a half because of his contract. And when Jake Wallman gets back, hopefully, like, you're going to have to kind of navigate some of the issues here. And but it's nice to see Vlasic play and stuff, but he did also only play like a handful of minutes in these games. I think he played 12 minutes, if I recall. I'm pulling up his stats here, but I think he only played like 12 minutes in the game against Tampa. It was a little bit better in the second game back, which would make sense, right? A guy who hasn't played since April last year. So he played 11:56 in the first game, and then 12:41 in the second game. So again, he's not like eating up a bunch of minutes here. But hopefully we can get that up around like 15-ish or so that we have a little bit more. You're not asking a lot of your other veterans your other defensemen to kind of make up for that. So it does stink though that Muka Madulin, I thought, had been playing well. I wonder if he gets sent back, but the Barracuda just have so many defensemen, right? The Sharks have so many defensemen. They need to, there's a massive logjam of defensemen right now. Cause I mean, they're playing 7 of them in the Barracuda right now. I know they're having some forward issues with, Gushin's out right now for limited, and Colin White. And I know Brandon Coe I think just got back, and they're having some stuff there, but like, you got too many, and you gotta ease the tension here with that. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe one, especially because you're starting to see some teams need a little bit of defensive help here. Wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks are maybe try to kind of move one here before Four Nations would be my guess, but we'll see. So what other kind of big Mario Ferraro, senior defenseman, he's played 2 solid games. I know I don't give Mario Ferraro a lot of credit on this podcast, but I think he's played 2 really good games, 2 of his best games as you know, as of late, these last 2 games, and that's a good sign for the Sharks and for Ferraro. Also shout out to Nikolai Kovalenko scoring his first goal with the Sharks. Great work by Eklund in the boards there and get him out. And that's great job by Kovalenko. Not a lot of space and is able to kind of find it right there. I think what we saw at the beginning of Kovalenko, it's probably not what we were going to see, but if he can be a really solid third liner for you, sign me up for that. So also shout out to Team USA. Back-to-back World Junior Championships. Brandon Savoda, champion. Congrats to him. Poor Kasper Halttunen looked devastated on the bench as Finland wins silver. Keep your head up, Halttunen. I know you're not listening, but keep your head up, buddy. Heck of a tournament. So that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow. Probably look at kind of where the Sharks stats are at and kind of look at how this team's performing midway. Now that we're past the midway point, but kind of look at where they're doing there. And then we'll finish up our prospects, kind of check in kind of mid-season here with the 2023, 2024 class later this week. So make sure you follow along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow. Bye, friends.